Chinonye Chukwu, who is the director of Till, who got very mad that they did not get nominated for an Oscar. She called it racism because it's 2023 and everything is racism.
The Woman King didn't get nominated for Best Picture, and now Danielle Deadwyler was not nominated for Best Actress from The Woman King, and she feels it was a snub based in Misogynoir.
No, from Till. She was in Till.
Misogynoir.
Yes, she was
From
in Till.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she was in Till. So yes, she says we're talking about the people who perhaps chose not to see it. We're talking about misogynoir. Like it comes in all kinds of ways. So whether it's direct or indirect, she said in a podcast, it impacts who we are.
Is it racist and
sexist? Yes.
if you just don't go to see the movie?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
It's kind
That's
of
the kind of world I want to live in. If you don't go and buy my product, the only option is because you're a bigot.
Yes, that's what it is.
I can't even wait to hear the next one.
They said misogynoir is a term coined by black feminist author and activist Moya Bailey in 2008 and refers to misogyny and prejudice directed at black women. Well, it couldn't be because nobody wants to watch a movie about the mother of Emmett Till. It has to be because people are just bad people, right? Like in the marketplace of ideas, maybe you should have made a movie that was more interesting to people. Like,
slavery movies are like the least interesting thing.
Nobody went and saw Emancipation either.
Lame.
Nobody, and that had Will Smith in it, and everybody. Well, I guess people don't love Will Smith anymore.
Maybe
but
that's
people
a
used
sign
to love Will
that
Smith.
white people don't want to be lashed for something they didn't do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's there's a thought to.
Yeah.
You know.
So it says her comments came after Till director Chinonye Chukwu accused the Oscars as well as the entertainment industry of being aggressively committed to upholding whiteness after she wasn't nominated for Best Director. I cannot wait. As remember that me now, as a Slavic person who is now a person of color, according to the National Coalition of colored people, I can now claim that anyone who does not watch this podcast is not watching it for prejudicial reasons.
She said, "We live in a world and work in industries that are so aggressively committed to upholding whiteness and perpetuating unabashed misogyny toward black women, and yet I am forever in gratitude."
What if it's abashed though? What if it's there, but they're actually not so open about it? What if it's just abashed misogyny and racism, not unabashed? Like they're racist, but they're just kind of quiet.
I think then it's the same thing. They just act like they're more outraged.
Yeah.
They just
Well, and it gets them roles, right?
Yeah.
It's like now this concept applies to everything. There was a thing the other day where Nia Long was saying like she felt passed over because she didn't get a role in Avatar. She's like, she felt like it was racial and that she got passed over because she didn't get a role in Avatar. So now for anything, casting, your coffee order doesn't come quick enough. Everything is some type of prejudice.
I'm not trying to bring up the guy's name again, but James Lindsay he makes a point about like if you want anything you want to control, you just call it racist until you control it. And that's really the method. It's like if you just accuse people of being bigoted, eventually they'll say, all right, well, if you stop calling me bigot, I will give you control of this thing.
Yep.
And that's the whole play.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I jumped off the train when they came out with that article or that I think book saying that like if you're attracted to women with big asses, you're racist. I was like, you know what?
I'm out of here.
Yes, I'm racist.
Yeah. Fine.
I accept the terms.
That is the hill I will die on.
I will die on this hill.
Yes.
If the film industry is as racist and misogynist as they say, why do you want to be a part of it so bad?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to be celebrated by it if it's full of all of these evil, hateful people? Yep. You know? And these are, I mean, who cares about the Oscars besides pretentious filmmakers and pretentious actors and actresses?
Pretentious writers who get to write articles like this.
Normal people, and, you know, the reception of these movies has no bearing on who wins Oscars actually anymore. Like, no one cared about Till. No one cared about Emancipation. No one cared about The Woman King even.
Because it's not
all
fun.
All of these movies, and even Black Panther, like Wakanda Forever was, it's heavy-handed with the anti-white hatred, and I'm kind of sick of the characterizations. Like, sorry that white people don't want to go see your movies about why they are to blame for everything evil that's ever happened in the world.
And this stuff has been layered into pop culture for decades. Like it was never so blatant. It wasn't always so blatant. It was white people. Am I right?
Well, it started as like, oh yeah, we're corny. We're not invited to the cookout. Yes. Like that. But it's like now it's just kind of snowballed into full blown violent hatred.
But not only that, but like now it's like, so like I got to be honest, like hearing you guys say like, oh, you know, it's talking about, you know, it's okay to be critical of white people and stuff like that. It's like that was something that you weren't even comfortable saying 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It makes me feel a little bit like, whoa, that's kind of edgy.
Yeah.
Because like for a long time, if you said, oh, there's a lot of people that are, you know, that are, it seems like there are people that are accusing white people of being bad just for being white people. People were like, well, what, you're a racist for saying that. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm just like looking at something, and to hear you guys talking about that and openly acknowledging it, it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe,
unfortunately,
the tide is turning.
Yeah, you know, maybe it is something where it's like, all right, it's something that we actually have to discuss in a frank manner now. And I would prefer that we didn't have to, but apparently
but
we do.
you can't. But then you cede ground
Like,
if you if you're not at least willing to talk about it.
I don't chuckle knowingly when the characters in Wakanda Forever refer to their white counterparts that are actually like on their side as colonizer. I don't feel like that's clever or cheeky. I think that it is still in a small way stoking the flame of hatred and division between the races.
Nationalists.
Yeah.
It's like
nationalists are complaining about the colonizers.
I was rewatching Arrow. Here's a great example of how they used to layer it in a way that was oh my god, right? Like there's a scene where Oliver Queen gets arrested in like season 1. He sets up his own arrest so that he can come up with an alibi for another crime, and to combat the fact that people won't think he's the superhero, he throws like a lockdown party at his house where everyone has to come dressed up as if they're in jail. And John Diggle, his sidekick, or in this show, I guess it's his driver at the time, he's not his sidekick yet, he sees a bunch of white people like throwing a party about being in jail and just goes, white people. But like this was 2012. It was not the same time. And that joke, that same blueprint for that joke has been permeated in Hollywood since the 70s and 80s.
And that joke is okay.
It's fine.
It's fine to make that joke because there are definitely things that, you know, that white people do like that you could satirize and stuff, and it's perfectly fine.
But it's never a two-way street.
Well, not only that, but nowadays it doesn't feel like it's a joke anymore.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't feel like there's mirth in it. It doesn't feel like it's like good-natured ribbing.
When
it's
he did
like,
it in
no, those are
2012.
the bad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In 2012, it still had the good-natured ribbing feeling. It felt like, okay, everyone gets their chance to get picked on. Yep. And nowadays, it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels like there's some bite to it and some venom in it, and that kind of attitude is really bad.
And since the people in Hollywood are pushovers and they have this fixation with self-hatred, that they feel that they're somehow more virtuous than the rest of the world by bragging about being self-hating, that dialogue will permeate the material forever. Yeah. And that leads to this type of belief from an actor or actress who actually believes that you not getting nominated for an award, first of all, it's extremely insulting to the people that were nominated. Yeah. Like, it's extremely insulting to the people who did get the nomination. Back in the day, the way you win favor in a situation like this is like, hey, I gave that was my favorite performance I've ever given. I'm really proud of this movie, and I am sad that it didn't get nominated, but I can't wait to try again in my next project, right? You can win a lot more hearts and minds with a little bit of humility rather than vitriol.
For me, it's the fact that the term Oscar snub even exists that pisses me off. Like that you think anyone was even thinking about you like that. That anyone even gave enough of an F about you.
These movies
to
are
diss
described
you on purpose by not nominating you. You are a pathological narcissist if you think that they were even thinking about you that hard.
To be fair, these movies are called Oscar bait. Like, these movies are described as Oscar bait.
Which means that no one wants to watch them.
They're literally made.
They're only a bunch of art nerds
like
them.
Let her go.
Get him! Get him!
It's literally
Let
made.
me cook! I cannot stand these people. Another thing is, like, a lot of people have floated the theory that, like, Wakanda as this technological global superpower that's existed for centuries has just ignored all of the subjugation of African people.
There's no way to make
history, like they didn't give a shit about saving their
if you think about Wakanda as a place that exists in this fictional world, it only takes you like 30 seconds to be like, oh well, they're the bad guys,
right?
Like it's like no matter what, it's like, oh, they're an ethno-nationalist, the exclusionary society that is hidden from the world, and they could have helped the entire world, could have stopped World War II
with a threat that is greater than nuclear war.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
And they were just like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, they explain that away in all the movies when they talk about, like, why didn't they help during this crisis? Why didn't any of these people help during this crisis? Because it's really just horrible storytelling that they don't actually have an answer for.
Yeah.
Movies like this are designed for like old dudes to jerk off and watch so they can feel brag about.
Hopefully you mean intellectually.
Jerk each other off and talk about how great they are, because they have to be submitted. All of these films have to be submitted for consideration. Also, it says in 2024, film producers and directors will be required to submit to the Academy a dossier of the sort that points to the race, gender, sexual orientation, and disability status of their film's cast and crew members. Because there's subsidies involved in all of these programs and how you hire. That's insane. Like, you get tax write-offs for these things now in California.
Yeah, I think that that always struck me because they were looking for California's racial makeup to get reflected in what Hollywood makes to produce for the rest of the country, which is not represented in the same demographics. So they're like, California obviously has more of a Hispanic population than the rest of the country. They want the per capita share of Hispanics in California to be reflected in the entertainment that is consumed in Montana.
Behind the scenes, not in front of the camera. I don't
Wyoming
think
or whatever. No, it was included in front of the camera. I remember reading about it.
That's even worse because they Hispanics are highly underrepresented in Hollywood compared to all the other demographics.
Are they really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think Asian men are probably the lowest. Fall down the wayside there the most. But,
they're the model minority and all.
To them, these are the people that decide whether you're a good person are the ones that are obsessed with stuff like this. But you've created your own monster with people with this type of attitude. And like I said, if you look at most of what the young actors are talking about today, they're talking about what they've overcome. Well, they go to private art academies.
Michelle Yeoh as well.
Even hers feels more like beat into her by that doesn't even feel real to me. Like
it's totally real.
I feel that 10 years ago she would have said whatever was popular in Hollywood at the time. Like she's just saying whatever's popular right now. 10 years ago, if it was something different, she would have been saying something different. 20 years ago, she would have been saying something different.
That's even worse than if she genuinely believes it.
Yep. I don't know about that. I think they're both bad. I think they're kind of equally bad. Like the idea is, like, in 20 years, if these people are spouting your viewpoints, do I actually believe they believe in the same things I believe in? No, I think they'll say whatever they want.
If all you do is spout the opinions of the people around you, regardless of what they are, you're the type of person that is complicit in like genocides and atrocities.
Yeah, these are the people that will just say whatever they have to remain famous and in power.
Yeah.
That's the number of people that will say whatever they're supposed to say to retain their position, it's somewhere in like 90%.
It's why we rag on these people whenever conservatives get all excited whenever an actor says something that they like, right? Because just because they do does not mean that it's somebody you need to look up to all the time. Like, you can say something nice about someone. They can say one thing you agree with, and you can agree with the sentiment of what they're saying, and you can be glad that for 8/10 of a second, that person is hopefully reaching out to people in their friend group or their social media circles, and maybe one person of their 9 million followers reads that and takes something from it, and you can understand that that's a good thing, but you can't look to them for validation because they're not living the same life you are.
You gotta love how whether they don't get nominated at all, if they get nominated and don't win, or if they get nominated and win, there are all ways that you can twist that into blaming white people for what happened.
Yeah.
Like Michelle Yeoh winning, what did she win? A Golden Globe.
Yep.
Still turned it around in a way to complain about how hard it is to be an Asian woman in Hollywood and to be, postmenopausal in Hollywood, or just like what, like. Just stop complaining for once.
So weird considering gratitude is something that people gravitate so much more towards than complaining. It feels like,
even
to
if
me,
it's not genuine, like Tom Cruise.
like somebody that espouses gratitude for what they have and understand how privileged, whether they like the word or not, the fact that you're spouting this crap to me from your television, from your screen into mine, because you have that platform, means that you are of the most privileged people in the entire planet.
Yeah.
You are the ivory tower
in history.
Regardless of what your skin color is, you are amongst the most privileged people on the planet. But here's the thing: now the next generation of people are looking at rich people who have nothing in common with them, hearing them espouse these victimhood viewpoints, and they're using that as their argument for why their life sucks or why there's problems in their life. And gratitude gets you so much farther.
Yep.
Like it does. So, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.